live broadcast. We're going to try Periscope and Facebook Live at the same time. Our Facebook Live is going to be coming to us from our, and that's a private group. You can learn more about that at classycareergirl.com/ladies. But it's just an awesome support community where you can get support. We can help you launch your dream career, your dream business. I love the ladies in there. We're not live on Facebook Live yet.
Live.
Everything's live. Oh, awesome.
We're even Snapchatting.
Oh gosh. Okay.
We're so hardcore.
a little everywhere. But I am so glad to be with you guys. So am I able to see it now too?
You should be able to on your.
I'll refresh and look at it. There I am. Okay. So we are going to talk about the 15 blogging mistakes to avoid, and I'll just give a brief background of me if you guys don't know me yet. My name is Anna Runyon. I'm the CEO of Classy Career Girl. I have been blogging since 2010 at classycareergirl.com, so lots of information to share today. I thought, maybe like 3 to 4 tips about blogging. And on Snapchat, if anyone's on Snapchat, I'm at Classy Career, and I recorded, I have a board up over here, a whiteboard. I have 15 mistakes that you don't want to make about blogging. So I know we have a lot of bloggers here. There's a lot of you that want to start blogs too, and it's probably one of the top questions that I get. So that's why I was trying to think of a topic that not only do you guys want to hear about, but also that I love talking about. So by this list of 15, you can probably tell blogging is something that I really enjoy talking about. It's something that completely changed my life. So back in 2010, it was March 2010, randomly started a blog. I was in business school and working a full-time job. And one of my group projects for business school was to look at other blogs and come up with a marketing plan to sell baby clothes for this company that we were working with on our group project. And so that was my job. I started looking around at other blogs and I was like, wow, I could do that. Why can't I do that? So I totally started a blog on a whim, was very busy, but I had a week off of school. So I thought, I have a little time, and started this blog called classycareergirl.com. And it was really just kind of for fun back then, kind of a hobby. I had no idea that I even wanted to be an entrepreneur. But the reason blogging changed my life is because I really discovered my passion through it, writing so much and meeting so many different people, doing so much networking really helped me, figure out what I wanted to do with my life. After I graduated with my MBA, I still didn't know what I wanted to do. And so just going through this whole process, creating a blog, realizing, hey, I could make a business out of this. And then I just decided to go for it and turn the blog into a business. So I'll be sharing some of my tips today with you guys. And also, if you have any questions, feel free to comment with your questions. I know we have Periscope going, so feel free to put your questions in there. My husband is also our Chief Operating Officer, and he, I think, is monitoring Periscope. He's looking at me like, uh-oh, I'm supposed to be monitoring Periscope for the questions there. Facebook Live, I am monitoring the questions on Facebook Live. So if you have any questions, just put them in there. Introduce yourself. If you are watching us right now, I would love to know, do you have a blog? Do you want to start a blog? Tell us that. Tell us where you're calling in from. I would love to know that. So do we have anyone coming in on Periscope? I think it's probably is it a time delay? Is that why it's kind of slow?
Blog, what's that?
A blog? What's that? So basic definition. I'm sure that was kind of just a joke, because I think everyone knows that's like the kind of thing my parents would say. A blog? What's that? I think it is kind of a good topic to bring up though, because a lot of people, especially when you turn a blog into a business, they have no idea what you do. And so people look at you really weird when you say, oh, I have a blog and I turned it into my business. And they're like, what? So you have to give the background too. Well, blogging isn't, and that's kind of one of the mistakes we're going to cover too. Having a blog is not just your business. And that's one of the mistakes I made, because I thought, hey, I can make money on Amazon affiliates or Google AdSense, and you can't make a living. I couldn't quit my job off of that. So we'll get to that as we go on. It looks like we have Tracy Schwartz with us. So tell us, do you have a blog, Tracy? Do you want to start a blog? I think this question, what mistakes should you avoid when you start blogging, that came from Katie. So I just wanted to give Katie and our Love Your Work and Life Ladies Facebook group a shout out, because she asked this question a couple days ago, and it's kind of been in the back of my head, like, oh, I really want to talk more about that topic because I have so many mistakes that I made. So Tiffany is here with us. She said, I have a blog for my marketing business, wondering if it should be a standalone or attached to my website. Okay, so that's a good question. I definitely think that having your blog, especially if it's part of your marketing business, if you're blogging about marketing topics, even if you're creating your own personal brand, Tiffany, I would consolidate them. So just like at classycareergirl.com, on the top there in my menu bar, I have my blog there, so they can learn more about me on my about page, on my home page, but then my blog is there too. And you'll learn as we go today, having that blog, that's like the main way that you get traffic to your site every day or every week when you're posting something new. That's where SEO comes in. That's where people are going to find you on social media. They're not just going to randomly find your blog if you're not posting things regularly, and you want to drive them to your website to see who you are, what you do, so they can work with you in your marketing business. So great question, Tiffany, and keep the questions coming in. I will answer them as we go, but like I said, we are going to talk about the 15 blogging mistakes that I see made over and over again. Just real quickly too, just to kind of let you know what I do behind the scenes. I help women find jobs and start businesses. So one of the things that I've seen in my corporate rescue plan, which walks women through quitting their day job, starting a business, is the blog. That's like what's holding them back. So that's another reason like I wanted to bring up this topic, because I'm seeing a lot of these mistakes being made over and over again. Okay, John, are we ready to get started? Should I start on the 15, or should I make them wait a little longer?
I think everybody's ready.
Are you going to make a cameo here? Or are you going to knock over all of the video equipment?
I'm going to creep in here.
Okay, so like, here we go. Here is Mr. John making a cameo.
This is our professional camera setup.
And there you can see I have the list of 15. We're really going to go down the list of 15. Like, if you don't know me at all, I am all about value. I am all about sharing everything I know. This is like my passion. I love teaching. I love training. And this is my first time trying Facebook Live, so that's exciting as well. But we're going through 15 things today because I want to give you it all. And also then at the end, I'm also going to tell you, if I was starting a blog today, exactly what I would do. So there's 10 things from scratch. If I was starting a brand new blog today, what I would do. But John says we're ready to get going. So comment below if you have any questions. If you have a blog, we'd love to see it. Share your URL, and we're going to get started. Okay, so the 15 mistakes that you want to avoid when you start blogging. Number 1, perfection. Trying to be perfect. So this is something that it's really hard to get started if you're a perfectionist. I'm a perfectionist. I know what this is like. I want my blog post to be perfect. But what I've learned is that I will never move forward. There will be no blog if I try and have everything completely perfect. So that's one thing you just want to be aware of. It's not, it's something that you want to remember. Like, done is better than perfect. Putting it out there. A lot of times what I usually do is I schedule my posts, make them go live, and then I'll look at them the day that they're live. So I'll just kind of check them out, make sure that there's no spelling errors, no issues with the photos. Especially if you want to make a difference, if you want to help people, if your content that you're sharing is going to help someone, if you don't hit that publish button, it's not going to be able to help people. And that's your purpose. That's why you're blogging, is to help people. So it might not be perfect. I know all of my posts are still on classycareergirl.com. You can go back to 2010. I don't want you to read my first post, but you actually could. And they're definitely not perfect. You can see that my writing has improved a ton, but if I had never started in 2010, I wouldn't be where I am today. the blog wouldn't be where it is today, and I wouldn't have learned so much. I mean, blogging is a journey of personal growth and learning how to blog and do your website too. So that's the first mistake, is trying to be perfect. Number 2, the second mistake is not planning out your content ahead of time. So when I first started blogging, like I said in the beginning, I was working a full-time job and I had business school at night, very busy. I was also traveling for work in there too, which was crazy. But I still kept very, very consistent in my blogging. And that's really important because people are going to come to your blog and they're always going to want to see something new. If there's nothing new, they're probably not going to come back. So my biggest tip to you would be to plan ahead as much as possible. Try to plan at least 2 to 3 weeks in advance. A month is ideal. That's how we do it here. We plan a month of ideas and topics for the whole 30 days. So it's June 3rd. I know what the blog is going to be about for the whole entire month. The content's not done yet, but the topics are there. I know the titles, the draft titles for each thing for the entire month. And then I try and schedule as much as I can in advance. So we use WordPress here, and there's a plugin that you can use in WordPress. It's just a WordPress editorial calendar, and it lets you plan your entire month in advance, the posts, and you can schedule them. You can put pending. So say there's one that's about ready, I'll put that as pending, and then when it's final and I've reviewed it a couple times and I'm ready to have it go, then I'll schedule it and make it go live for a future date. So you can schedule posts for like 2 weeks and they'll just publish automatically, which is amazing. So when you're busy, like I would go to my day job and be at work, and my posts would just go live while I was at work. People would be reading them. I had some automated tweets going out too. So even though I had a day job, I had business school, like I was still, things were going live, like I was actually being there physically doing them. But it was all because I planned ahead. So you really don't want to do last minute blogging. You don't want to do really anything last minute, because you won't produce very good stuff if you're doing things last minute. So what I always did is I planned out a month ahead of time, all the ideas, because that really just got me brainstorming. And I would jot down all ideas, everything I really wanted to talk about for the month. And then in the mornings, because mornings were my writing time, they still kind of are, that's when I love to actually write. When I would wake up, I would know exactly what I was going to blog about. So that's really helpful too, is knowing when your best time is. So plan ahead. Okay, the third mistake, and I made this one too, is not collecting emails for your email list on your blog, not having a way for people to opt in. So there was a whole year where I was blogging, continuing to get traffic to my site, never collected any emails, and I still think about that, and I was like, oh gosh, there was probably so many people that I could have connected with if I would have just been asking for their emails as we went along. They liked my content. They liked what I was writing. That I made, and it's being made all the time right now. So it's really important. If you go to classycareergirl.com, you would see, on every blog post on the sidebar, I'm giving away a free 90-day plan. Give away some sort of PDF, some cheat sheet, some ebook, even a blog post you've already written, just turn it into a PDF and you can give that out. Any sort of toolkit. I know with a lot of our blog posts, we have specific content that goes along with that topic of the blog. So for instance, even right now, we're giving you guys, if you would like a blog checklist, a lot of this stuff we're covering today, you can get that at www.classycareergirl.com/blog checklist. So there's a great example. If you kind of want an example of something that you could give away that's associated with the blog article that you're writing, that's a really, really good strategy. So if they came to your blog to read an article, it means they want more information about that. So give it to them, start creating your email list, and that really leads into the fourth mistake as well, which is treating your blog like a hobby instead of a business. I made this mistake. It's not, it's something that I don't want you to make as well. I know we have job searchers and we have people starting a business in this group. So even if you're just trying to change jobs and you may not want to start a business, I think this is really, as a CEO of your own career, of your own life, and know that there's so much potential in blogging. So, for example, you guys may not realize, but just by having a blog, if you post consistently and you keep doing it for a longer period of time, there are people that would like to pay you to post about their products, their services. If you have social media, they want to pay you to put their stuff on your Instagram, your Facebook, to post about their things. And so I think this is something I wish I would have known earlier, is that it really is a business. Even though you may think in the beginning, oh, I'm just writing, it's just a hobby, if you can continue to get people to come to your site, that can turn it into a business very, very quickly, as long as you're focused on that. So that's a big one, is really being focused on making this a business, not just a hobby from the very beginning. Do we have you're looking very confused. John's like,
No, I'm just blocking people on Periscope.
Oh gosh. Yay! That's why we're trying Facebook Live and Periscope at the same time, because that's a downside of Periscope. There's some crazy people on there. But there's some wonderful people. I'm sure people. That we are.
Veronica Berry says, "Hey, classy career girl."
Hi. Hey, Veronica. It looks like we have a few more people that joined us as well. We have Susan Lump with us. Hi, Susan. I'm glad you're with us. And Rita is from Paris. So I bet you comment and tell us where you're calling from too, because I bet you we have like an international audience, which is very cool too. Okay, so we covered the first mistake, perfection. Second mistake, not planning ahead. Third mistake, not having an email list or a way for people to opt in. Fourth mistake is treating your blog just like a hobby and not as a real business. Fifth mistake. John is standing in my way. I can't see what the fifth mistake is. I have a whiteboard that I'm looking at. If you're wondering, this is not all memorized. Okay, fifth mistake is comparison. So that is when you are so consumed by what other bloggers are doing, what other people are doing, that you can't create yourself. And blogging is all about creating. It's about really being yourself and putting yourself on your website, telling stories about yourself, being unique, thinking back to like when big changes happened in your life and how you could relate that into your business right now and what you sell or the product you sell. So this is something I face too. I mean, there's so much noise out there. There's so many people out there. So many, especially with social media now, it's noisy. It's very, very noisy. So there's a lot of jealousy. There's a lot of comparison. Oh my gosh, her site design is amazing. I wish I could have her site design. Mine looks like crap. Who cares? This is when it's really important that you just kind of put those blinders on, because you have a mission, you have a purpose, you have a change to make in the world. And so if you never do it, if you're always looking at what other people are doing and they're so much better, then you're never going to be able to get the real you out and create the thing that's really great for you. So if any of you have been following along with Classy Career Girl over the last 6 years, you know what it used to look like. You know that every year there's like a big change that we make, and every year I'm like, oh, it's so much more me now, especially now. I'm sure it'll be completely different in a year, but I feel like now my site is like really, really me. And I feel like every time I blog, it's like really, really me. And so that's what you want to get to too. I know I have had to unsubscribe to like millions of emails. I'm always unsubscribing. I'm hiding people on social media. I'm like trying to put on those blinders. I have mentors. I have a mastermind group. I have people I really trust that I want to go into my brain. But then I also have the people that I know I can't get into my brain. Otherwise, I can't focus on doing something like this if I'm always focused on what other people are doing. So no more comparison. Make your own way. I think I posted on Instagram the other way. Make your own runway. Like really just make it all about you. Anna's with us. She says, yes, don't compare. It's a very scary rabbit hole. But CCG definitely is unique, so you're doing awesome. Thank you, Anna. And I hope, is it Anna? You'll have to tell me if it's Anna or Anna. Tell me if it's like my name or not like my name, and then I'll be able to say your name correctly. She asked, at what point did your real job find out that you had a blog? Well, that's a great question. It's actually kind of interesting because I was anonymous in the very beginning. So the first 6 months, I was actually scared that my company was going to find out. I wasn't sure I was going to make this into anything. I thought it was just a hobby. And so it was just Classy Career Girl. I didn't have my name on there. I didn't have my photo on there. Like, it was just a blog. And 6 months into it, I decided, okay, I think I could connect with people a lot better if I can be more of myself. And so that's when I went for it, and I recorded a blog after 6 months. And within the next week, I got my first speaking engagement at Wake Forest University. So one of the blog readers saw my video. She could finally like connect with me on a video like this, and just invited me out to speak to the students there. So that's the whole beginning. I had to get over that fear of like, okay, if my boss does find out, is this going to be, the worst thing in the world? You have to investigate and make sure that there's I know I have some clients who can't make it public until they actually quit because there's some rules and some contracts that they signed. So you have to be careful. You have to be careful about posting on social media and LinkedIn if there could be some sort of conflict of interest. For me, my field and my business were so different. I was in government consulting. I started as a career coach. So those two things were so very different that there was no conflict of interest. So I felt like it was okay for me to be building up my personal brand on this side. I also knew that the field I was in, government consulting, they weren't very much on social media, so I knew no one would really be Googling me, figuring me out. It was 100% devoted to my job. I worked overtime, I worked weekends, so they knew that it wasn't going to affect how I performed my job. So I felt okay about doing it without telling my boss, but I'm not saying that's right for everyone. You kind of have to evaluate your own personal situation. My boss did find out. She was awesome. She went on vacation and she picked up a People's Style Watch magazine on the newsstand, was flipping through it on the beach, and there she saw my face because I was quoted. I think I have it, actually. Ooh, I hope I don't knock anything over here.
Don't knock everything over.
But this is the first time I was quoted in a magazine, which is kind of cool. I don't know if they can even see it. But she saw my face. Can they see it? Mm-hmm. She saw my face. It says the corporate blogger says, and said founder of ClassyCareerGirl.com and government consultant. So she came back from her vacation and just said, hey, I saw a magazine and I saw you in the magazine, and so yeah, that's kind of how the conversation started. But she didn't care. Luckily, she was kind of my ideal market because at that time I was talking a lot about leadership for women. So at that time, she loved it. She thought it was great. Additional people, as soon as it started hitting more news sites, we got on the Forbes Top 100 list. As soon as that kind of started, other people in my company started hearing more about it too. I published a book while I was still employed. But when they do find out, it's kind of a relief because then you don't have to worry so much because you're not hiding from anyone anymore. So hopefully that helps. Okay, not like your name. So it sounds like it's Anna. Very cool. Good question. Okay, let's continue on with our mistakes. Sixth mistake is having bad titles for your blog posts. This is really, really important. I'm actually in the midst of going back through all of my prior blog posts and updating all of the titles and editing all the posts because I picked some really bad titles. So now every time I create a blog post or I update any of those old blog posts, I go through it. I try and get ideas. Pinterest is one of my main traffic sources. So I always go on Pinterest and kind of get some ideas about some titles that I can use. But that's another big mistake is not spending a lot of time generating ideas with your titles. So I usually try and come up with like 4 or 5 titles and narrow it down and talk through them and get John's feedback, other people on our team as well, to come up with that best title, because that's the first thing people are gonna click on. So it's really got to capture their attention. Anytime you can do numbers too, like kind of the title for this, 15 blogging mistakes to avoid. Something that's like really, and we spent some time thinking about what we should title this Facebook Live and Periscope stream, because we wanted to make sure that it was a good title so that you guys would jump on, and maybe we'll still get more people on just because they're seeing what the title is. So, awesome. Okay, let's go to the next mistake. The 7th mistake is not having good images. Okay, so something that we've really realized at CCG and with our blog is that images are everything. And like I said before, Pinterest is our #1 source of traffic. And once I figured this out, now all my attention is really on images for every single article. There are so many free image sites out there right now as well. A couple that come to my mind are picjumbo.com. There's one called Pexels, Pexels, and you can actually download their pictures for free, use them on your site. So there's no, like when I started, there was not that option. There's also Flickr too, FLICKR.com. You can use flickr.com. But even better, what we do now is we really just take our own photos. We all have phones with great cameras usually now, and so it's really just about taking pictures when you're inspired or when you see something, like when you're traveling, because that all adds into your story when you're blogging as well. So we do a combination. We take our own photos. We also use some of the sites I just mentioned, use other people's photos that you can use for free. We use Flickr. But that's a big mistake, is not having really great pictures, because that's what people are drawn to. That's what they're attracted to, especially if if you're blogging to anyone who is a woman. Like, if you learn anything today, don't forget about the power of Pinterest. It's amazing, 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 amazing. So if you can create images, we use picmonkey.com. I also just discovered within the last week adobespark.com, which is amazing, creating graphics and images for your site. And usually then you can use them on other social media accounts too. Okay, sip of water time. How are we doing, John?
Awesome. Everybody's commenting. I need to point out that Anna Harrison said this is the best live feed ever.
What?
And here's why. Because the other live feeds are basically selfies where the girls touch their hair a lot.
Oh no.
I
don't think I've touched my hair. I did touch it before this went by, though.
And I said, Anna's too classy for all that hair touching.
Oh god. It's not about the hair. I have a message I need to share.
Carry on.
Oh,
carry on.
That rhymed. Quote on a Runyon. Okay, I might create like an Instagram quote out of that one. That's awesome. See, that's funny too, because I haven't even actually watched that many, because I think that goes into what I was talking about before, is like the blinders and not comparing yourself to other people. Okay, on to the next one. Number 8. The big 8th mistake is paying too much for your website. Okay, so you may not know this. A lot of people ask me, who's your website designer? Who's your branding person? Who's your marketing person? Background, it's us. So what you're looking at did not come from we didn't pay thousands of dollars on a website designer. We've had our site for 6 years. We're improving it ourselves. some people do need that to get you started, but you don't need to spend that much money. It's really not that hard to create your own website. You might need someone just to help you with some technical stuff, follow a guide. You can learn, we have our blog checklist if you want to go to www.classycareergirl.com/blog checklist. That has all the tools, really kind of the checklist to get you started. But I just don't want you guys paying that much, because I know inside, I know how hard it is, and it's not that difficult. And this has been a challenge for me because I do have a group of 50 women who are starting their businesses in the corporate rescue plan on the side of their day jobs. And this is a common question I get because they're busy, and I understand it. I was there too. But there's so many web developers and designers I've talked to, and if you're starting out, you just don't need to spend that much money when you start. I don't want to get all the web designers upset with me, but that's my big tip for you, is to just start slowly, take care of your money. You don't have to spend a ton of money on a big fancy website. Okay, number 9 mistake is too much thinking and not enough doing. This kind of leads into the perfectionism that we were talking about. So I know a lot of you listening right now are probably thinking a lot about what you want to blog about. Maybe you've wanted to blog for years now. You've thought a lot about it, but you're not actually taking action and doing it. So just starting, putting it out there. Maybe this weekend, it's a Friday, spend some time this weekend, hit publish on a post, build your website. I'll tell you in a little bit kind of the steps that I would take if I was just starting right now. Don't think too much, start doing more than you're thinking. That will get you going in the right place. Okay, number 10, not monitoring your traffic. Please download Google Analytics. It's a plugin that you can use if you're on WordPress. It's an easy plugin you can use so you can track where your traffic is coming. If you have a blog right now, you need to get Google Analytics on there. That is the number one way where you're going to be able to see where people are coming, who's referring who's referring people to your blog, and then most importantly right now is what social media platform is the best for you. And I will tell you, this happened to me, it happened to one other girl in my corporate rescue plan too. She and I were both spending so much time on Instagram, and then we both looked at our Google Analytics numbers and saw that Pinterest was driving way more traffic to our website. She actually had a 300% increase in her traffic once she realized Google Analytics and figuring out where her current traffic was. Because what I teach, it's really about figuring out what works and then utilizing that as much as possible. So if you find that most of your traffic is coming from LinkedIn or Facebook or anything like that, or if you're spending money on advertising, then you want to know, is most of my money coming from the advertising, or am I paying money on Facebook ads and no traffic is actually coming my way? All that stuff is really important. So you just want to make sure that you're monitoring where that traffic is coming from. Okay. Number 11 is not having a customer avatar or a reader avatar. So not knowing who your ideal customer is and who you're writing your blog for. So one of the things, and John just did this right before we started this video, he reminded me, which I'm so glad he did, he reminded me, okay, who are you talking to? Who is this video for? And she's going to love it because I'm totally going to call her out, but I said Ida. Ida is our client, and she's also our intern at CCG, our social media intern. She's who I'm talking to right now, because if I can imagine a real live person, then I'm just way more myself. So same way with your writing. Pretend like you're writing to, maybe you have a potential client or a real life client. Pretend you're writing to them, or just create your avatar. She's Susie, she's 35 years old, and she works in corporate and doesn't like her job, and really specific of how much money she's making, the magazines she likes to read, maybe like television shows that she watches, and that just will help you figure out what you should blog about too. I don't think I put on here, but surveying is really important as well. So that's going to help you figure out your avatar as well. What are their fears, their frustrations? And then what are their biggest goals and desires? That's going to help you write and become a better listener for your clients as well. Okay, number 12, not being real and sharing stories on your blog. So it's really important. I think we talked about this a little bit when we said the mistake of comparison. But right here, I just really want to make sure that you guys know that you have to be real. You have to put yourself out there. It's scary. There's a lot of fears that come with all this. I mean, look at me right now. We are Facebook Live and Periscope and Snapchat. I mean, this is like, this is nerve-wracking, right? This is not easy. Something could go wrong. Everything, I could mess up, right? But you have to put yourself out there. So I think it's just really important that you remember to be yourself, to share stories. I know something that really helped me was just journaling and remembering some of the stories, like putting myself back into the position of what it was like when I was in my day job. What are some of those biggest frustrations I was having? Because it's very different now. You kind of forget where you were and where you are now. And so just remembering who you're blogging to, who your ideal client is, and then how that story wraps in. People love stories. People love to hear kind of, behind the scenes, what happened to you 5 years ago and how that relates to your advice today. Okay, number 13 is not using keywords in SEO. This is a mistake I did, and now we're definitely going back to 2010 and updating all of our 2010 posts, but not utilizing SEO and keywords. To me, SEO isn't a huge strategy for me because most of my traffic is coming from Pinterest, but it's still really, really important because we do have a lot of traffic coming our way from Google. So it's really important. I love the plugin, the Yoast SEO plugin for WordPress. If you're on WordPress, I would highly recommend getting Yoast SEO, Yoast. There's other ones out there, but the most important thing is that for every post you do, there's a keyword that you're writing that post to. So you're making sure that, that keyword is listed, I think like 5 times in the article or something. Don't quote me on that. Because Yoast will tell you whether you have hit that benchmark or not. So there's like a little stoplight chart. So it's green, it's yellow, it's red, and if you have all greens, then that means you're good. You're using the keyword in the title, you're using the keyword in the URL, like all this stuff I didn't think about when I started, which is good because I was following my other instructions and just starting rather than thinking too much about it and making sure it was perfect. So it was good. I'm glad I got out there. But this is something that you want to, I wish if I was starting all over, I don't think Yoast SEO was around when I started, unfortunately, but it's something that you definitely want to be aware of. Okay, number 14. I'd recommend, the other mistake is not having categories that your content is in. So if you go to our menu bar and you go to blog, you'll see that we have categories listed. So every time we're doing a blog post, we're putting what category that article falls into. So that way it's just so much easier to be able to sort later on, for people to be able to find the content, for SEO and Google to be able to sort what's most important and what people want. So for us, it's really important that we're sorting what's an entrepreneur's article and what's a job search article. Because if you come as a job searcher to our site, you don't want to learn how to start a business. You want to figure out what your dream job is and you want resume tips, right? And if you come to our site as an entrepreneur, you could care less about resumes. So it's really important that we have categories for our content so that you know what you're reading is what you actually want. So the same thing for you. I mean, right now we have over 1,500 articles. So you might start with 5, but if you stay consistent like I teach you to do, and you keep doing this every week, you're going to have so many articles. So the categories are going to be really, really helpful.
Susan says, how long should it be? Is there any rule of thumb for size or word count?
Well, that's a good question, Susan. As far as word count goes, I know for SEO, they want to see at least 300 words in each article. So I would make sure that you have at least 300 words in there. We try and aim for about 700. Most of our articles are about 700. I have heard one of my friends in my mastermind group, she said that her articles that go to like 2,000 words, they actually get the best traffic numbers because they're just really gigantic, really long posts. So there's no hard and fast rule on that. It just, I would recommend at least 300, and then making sure that you're giving as much value as you can in each post. So, you know, we don't put out just little posts that aren't actually, it's not like bait click, right? We don't do like a great title and then the post is crap. You want to make sure that if people are coming to your site that you're giving them great content. I would say if you're just starting, I would err on the side of like longer posts that are like really a deep dive, really intense, really great information, because then they're going to want to opt in and get your next thing. If they see that your post is so amazing, then you're going to lead them into the next thing and they're going to want that next thing too. But that was a good question. Anything else? Are we ready for the 15th mistake? John? Yes?
Yep.
Okay, so our last mistake, and then I'm going to dive into if I was starting today, what I would do. So the last mistake that I see being made is not having this big master ideas list for your blog. So when I first started, I probably had at least 30 topics and ideas that I wanted to blog about. And if you can't come up with like a really long list, maybe it's not the right topic for you to be blogging about. Because blogging really needs to be something that you're passionate about. You have to want to do it on the mornings, the nights, and the weekends. And so if you can't, you know, you want to have this running list of a ton of ideas. So there's a couple suggestions. You know, obviously there's Excel. That's where my first list of blog topics was. Now we use asana.com, and that's kind of our task software. So our entire team is on it. So we have a section, a project on Asana, asana.com. And that just has all of our blog content ideas. And so anytime you have idea, I mean, I am at the grocery store and I have ideas. I have, probably because the idea was like, I want to do an article on meal prepping and cooking and like crock pots and all that silly stuff, right? But if you don't write it down, then you're going to forget about that idea. So that's something that you definitely want to have handy, and to just, even if it's like an Evernote, if it's a notebook that you carry around in your purse, just somewhere where you can quickly write what your ideas are. Okay, so if anyone, that's our 15th mistake. I'm going to dive into if I was starting a blog today, what would I do? But I first want to make sure that we don't have any other questions coming in. And do we have any other questions? It doesn't look like we have any questions on Facebook Live, but if you guys are joining us on Periscope, if you have any questions on there, feel free to write them in. So it doesn't look like we have any other questions. So we have Beverly here. Beverly, who else? Abby. Hey, Abby. Thanks everyone for joining me. This is my first Facebook Live event, so going well so far. I don't think we have too many technical difficulties. It is weird because you can't see all the comments. They like go away.
Yeah, I don't refresh it.
Like that.
No,
yeah.
that's weird.
So, but I think I can see the newest comments first, so that's good. Okay, so let's get started. If I was starting a blog brand new, fresh today, and I kind of actually may do this at some point, so this was kind of a fun little thing that I did. Completely different industry. If I was doing something completely different, these are the steps that I would take right off the bat. And like I said, I think John's posted on here that our whole checklist is at classycareergirl.com/blog checklist, and that gives you all of our tools and resources that we love and use on a daily basis. Okay, so what I would do from the very start, if I was starting a blog today, and this is me personally, I know that there are a million different ways that you could do this. I'm not saying other ways are wrong to do. I'm just saying the tried and trusted way that I would do it, that I tell all my clients to do, would be to, number one, I would start on Bluehost. I would get your hosting from Bluehost. Then I would get a domain name from Bluehost as well. And then I would install, so that's number one, Bluehost, getting hosting in your domain from bluehost.com. Number two, I would download WordPress.org through Bluehost. This is exactly how my blog started well, I shouldn't say that. I did start on blogger.com in the beginning, and then we went over to our own hosting. But having your own hosting, so when I first started, my blog was called classycareergirl.blogspot.com. So that's not professional, right? But having that blog spot in there, no one's going to do business with me. So that lasted like 2 months before I realized, okay, this is not a hobby. This is a business. I'm going to treat myself as a business, where I bought my own domain name. And then eventually we switched over. It's harder to do if you don't do it from the beginning. That's why I want to teach you this from the beginning, is to get your own hosting. It's like 100, maybe 150 a year. But you actually own it then. So you have your domain name, you own the content of your blog. If you use other sites, you just want to make sure who owns that content. Like if blogger.com went down yesterday, where would my blog go? That's kind of one of the things I was scared about. So that's the second thing, is to get WordPress.org. You can do that through Bluehost. There's a ton of tutorials there that will teach you how to install WordPress on your website. Once you have WordPress, it's amazing, because then there are so many plugins that you can utilize with WordPress. So the third thing I would do if I was starting today, I would go on PicMonkey.com and design my logo. Very similar to what I did a year ago when I created the CC. See, you're getting all the behind the scenes here. The whole CCG on my top left of my homepage, and every single page, that's kind of like my brand. It's on every Instagram photo, everything I do. I did it myself on PicMonkey.com. My whole theme is a DIY, if you can't tell. I just love doing things myself and then teaching you how to do them for free as well. So that's what I would do. I would go to PicMonkey.com, design my logo. The fourth thing I would do is get some great photos. So I would go to, and this is exactly what I've done over this last year, knowing that the visual element is so important on my site, and how much I wanted to focus on Pinterest and Instagram, which are two very visually important social media platforms. And I went to Target. I bought a bunch of cute little dollar section things. Can they see this? All like my everything I have in here. That's just like, yes. Look, I have a pink stapler. I don't use this stuff. This is all for like pictures. Just so that I could take my own photography. So that's what I would do. Again, I would go with $25. I would go to Target, buy a bunch of stuff. It's really fun anyways. Come home, lay it out. I got a white cardboard at Target too for like $1. Put all this fun stuff down on your table, and you can even use your iPhone and just take some pictures. You can change the settings of the lighting and everything later. So that's how I'd recommend getting some good images for your site that you shot yourself. Okay, so that's the fourth thing. The fifth thing, if I was starting today, I would focus exclusively on Pinterest, because I think that that is just one of the platforms I think is so important for bloggers, and many people just don't realize it because they think it's just for shopping or fashion. But when you think about it, Pinterest is really, people are pinning what they want in the future, and you want them to want your product, your service, what you're blogging about in the future. So that's why it's so important. People are pinning the clothes they want, the house that they want, the future that they want, things that motivate them. And so I would just continue, if I was starting today, I would start creating images exclusively for Pinterest on every single blog post. And you can do that through PicMonkey.com. That's where you put the title, you spend a ton of time on the title of every blog post, put the title and the picture, and then I forget the size. We'll have to, if you want to know the size, we can get that for you, or you can just Google ideal Pinterest image size, because the best ones are those tall images. But that's what a lot of people say. We have had amazing luck with other images that are really small too, that just people are so used to, I think, seeing the really tall images now, that the small images do well too, but they just need the title of your blog post. Okay.
Good
yes.
question coming in.
Yes.
So, one question is about Facebook Live, which we'll probably do after, like at the end, like how we actually
this
did
happened.
this, right? Because that's it's kind of an interesting.
I mean,
one.
it's all you can do. You can do that one.
Everybody can do this. But then Anna also says, I've always wondered about posting quotes. Let's say it's one of those inspirational travel quotes. I don't want to use these as an overlay for an Instagram post in case it's a copyright violation. Where's the line when you decide what to use as a social media inspirational post? What's that?
Most of them, I mean, your purpose is to help people with their traveling, to inspire people. So you're not doing anything out of hate. Like, you're not purposely trying to, copy someone's. If you honestly have searched, I know I've done that. I've searched online, seen a great quote. I'll search, I'll Google the quote, see who wrote it. Oftentimes something like that might say unknown. There is none. There is no one. I think the problem comes when you use your name and you say you had that quote. I think that's when an issue arises. There is a lot of quotes out there. Quotes do great. They are inspirational. People love them. But I wouldn't worry too much about it. I mean, I think as long as I would put, if you don't know, I would just put -unknown. So that's making it clear that you don't know where it came from, but it's not an original thought. It's not you. That's probably what I would do. Just don't say, that was your original thought. I don't think there is. I think often we're so worried about the line. I know this happened to me last night too. I was using Adobe Spark to create my new video introduction. We're coming out with CCG TV pretty soon here, and so I used the video on Adobe Spark, and it's free at all because I was worried, well, what if this music is copyrighted? Even though Adobe Spark says it's not, there's always that fear in the back of your head, but you just, you have to move through many, and you, most of the time quotes, I don't know, John, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think quotes can be copyrighted, can they? I don't know.
I don't know. Specifically on Instagram, though, if you see somebody else post something and you've done this before.
Repost, yeah, you have to regram it.
Right? You regram it, and that is a huge gray area. Like, it might not be okay, but it probably is okay, and no one really knows on Instagram. And most people are cool if you just tag them, right? Say, I regrammed it, and then you tag them and say, great quote from so-and-so.
And most people are pretty polite about it, too. If they don't want you to post something, this has never happened to me, but they would ask you to take it down. But I did learn from someone who actually worked with a pretty big brand, and she said, we love it when other people regram us because it gets our quote out to more people. So it's an awesome, it's free publicity. It happened to me twice yesterday, and I was like, awesome, people are regramming, our stuff. So, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Any other questions? It looks like we're caught up, right?
Yes.
Okay. So steps to start a blog. If I was starting today, number 1, Bluehost, getting hosting and domain. Number 2, downloading WordPress.org through Bluehost. Number 3, getting a logo, creating your own logo on PicMonkey. You can use the text and all that stuff in there. Number 4, photos. Go to Target, spend $25, get pink pens or whatever color you want your brand to be about. Take pictures on your phone. Number 5, I would focus on Pinterest and getting a lot of traffic from Pinterest with using great images, great titles. Number 6, get Yoast SEO, a WordPress plugin for your site. This is something I talked about when we were talking about SEO and keywords. That's a really big plugin to use. Number 7, if I was starting today, which I kind of, this is what I do on every single blog that I write now, and I'm going back to 2010, and on every single blog, I'm putting a lead box that collects email addresses within the article. We use leadpages.com in order to create a lead box. And the reason I love lead boxes right now is because I can create opt-ins for people, specific lead magnets, free PDFs, free cheat sheets based off what that content is all about. So for instance, one of the most popular articles on our website is 18 ways we paid off $80,000 in 18 months, I think is what it was called. Written way back in 2012. We kind of documented 18 things that we did along our journey to pay off debt. So that's one of our biggest, most popular sites on our articles on our website. And it took me a long time before I figured this out, but it wasn't even until February, because I'm not a financial advisor. We don't even have courses that have to do with finances or money right now. Maybe we will in the future. So I wasn't capturing leads off that page, even though there was so much traffic coming to that page. So finally, we figured out the lead boxes. We put a lead box on that article, which gives away my Excel budgeting template that we used when we were paying off all that debt. So even though that's not like on every single page of our website, it's only on that article. It allows us to collect that email address to deliver something really valuable to them and lead up with helping them with their career as well. And so the light bulb for me was, if you're in financial distress, if you have a for your paycheck so that you can pay your bills, right? So I was seeing a lot of correlation between people who are stuck financially are also stuck in their career. So that has been very beneficial to us when we figured out kind of that pathway. Okay, here's your Excel spreadsheet to help you with budgeting. Now let us help you with your career too. Like, how can we help you move forward and get unstuck in your career, help you with your job search? So that lead pages, using lead boxes, you just take a little bit of HTML code from lead boxes and you paste it in as HTML into your website, and then it creates. So if you go on to any of our articles on Classy Career Girl, you'll see at the bottom, if not in the middle of the blog post, there's just a box that says click here for your free blog worksheet, and then you click it. There's a pop-up that asks for your name and your email address. You put that in, and we immediately deliver to you what we call lead magnet, which is that free cheat sheet PDF that's targeted with that blog post. So if I was starting today, every single post I would write would have a lead box in there that is something targeted to that blog article that I just wrote. Okay, so the 8th thing I would do if I was starting a blog right today, I would post once a week. So every week I would stay very, very consistent. I'm assuming I had a day job as well, so I was juggling this. I'm a mom of a 2-year-old, so there's probably, I had very little time. I would stick to one post a week. The 9th thing I would do, I would promote it everywhere all week long. I would just promote that blog post. I would make it great, spend a ton of time making it a really, really great post, really, really great content, a great lead magnet. So I'd work a ton on creating like a cheat sheet that went along with the blog post. Promote it as much as possible, taking quotes from the article, putting them on Instagram, taking quotes from the article, putting it on Facebook all week long, putting quotes on the article, putting on Twitter. You can schedule this all. We have actually, just in the last week, we found a great social media scheduler that we switched to called Viral Tag. So you can do this once a week, create quotes, create all this stuff for that article, promote it all week long. The 10th thing I would do is I would do a video with every post as well, because where I see everything going. Like, look at us right now. Snapchat, Periscope, Facebook Live, like video is so, so, so important. This type of thing is I'm really, really excited to see the numbers after this event, because something like this, live streaming, anytime you upload a video, you get so much more reach on Facebook. We all know Facebook is limiting us as business owners to be able to be seen anymore. So our photos get very, very little reach if we don't pay for them. But videos, anytime we upload a video, my new goal is to upload a video every single day straight to Facebook, because so many more people see the video. So I would do a video with every post. And the last thing I would do is, I'm a big fan of partnering with other people and sharing content. I think you guys have seen this on CCG. We accept guest contributors. If you'd ever like to contribute, you can find that on our website. Under the About section, there's a drop down for guest contributors. But from what I found, and I've done it both ways, for a few years I was the only blogger, and then another few years I accepted guest contributors. And what I always heard from people, you think that people love hearing from you, but people love hearing different voices on a website and on a blog too. So it only helps you to put more content out there. So that's something that I would do too, is as long as the writer is giving you content that fits your topic and is helping your readers and they're enjoying that type of content, that's going to help you post more often. The more often you post, the more things you can share on social media. More often you post, the better chance you have of getting better rankings in Google as well. So as of today, we do a blog post every day on CCG. And I'm not the only writer. We have other people writing for us too. And then what I found, so I'm on the record saying I think this is a better strategy than even guest posting, because it allows other people to share the content and drive traffic to your site. So instead of you guest posted at blank's blog and you drive traffic to their blog, other people guest post on your site and they drive traffic to your blog. So I love the strategy of hosting other people on your site. I think for me, I'm a big fan of community and creating communities, so I don't want to be the only voice on my blog. I like having different voices as well. So that's all I got. I think we talked a lot about blogging, and make sure you guys, the complete beginner's guide to starting a successful blog, and we're sharing our 9 blogging resources that we can't live without. You can get that at www.classycareergirl.com/blog checklist. I think John's going to share that in the group as well. Okay, so let me see. We have a couple questions coming in. Have you done a post on leveraging Pinterest for business? I have not, but people have been asking about this, and this is actually something we're testing and tweaking right now. We have a couple Pinterest ads that we have out right now, so the post is coming, Rita. That's a good question. I can't remember who else. I think it was Anna that asked for a blog post about leveraging Pinterest for business. We do have some training inside the Corporate Rescue Plan. If you are interested in joining our community, we do have video training on Pinterest in the Corporate Rescue Plan. But there may be a blog post or two coming out long term in the future. Do we have any other questions that came in, John? I think there was one.
Another about Pinterest.
I think there was. It's so hard to see on Facebook Live. You guys will see if you try it, but the questions disappear. Like, I thought I saw a couple up there, and then, Victoria. Victoria said that was it. I think she said she wishes she knew the ins and outs of Pinterest. Well, maybe that'll be our next topic for next time. How about that? I think that's a great idea. We had a few people ask about it, so I think that's a good idea. We'll have about 4 minutes left. We were only going to keep this to an hour, but Anna has one. Oh, how often do you think you will be doing this live? That's what Susan said. I am aiming for at least weekly. You guys will laugh at this. We had this planned on Wednesday. We had it planned every Wednesday. I would love to take feedback if you guys have times that would work best for you. But I think we're planning. This is kind of the only time that worked this week because we had kind of a crazy last week. But uh, Anna says, when you started as an entrepreneur, were you already surrounded by motivated people, or did your friendships change? That's a good question. I definitely had to surround myself with different people. I wouldn't say my friendships changed, but I would say that I had to add more entrepreneurs to my like support team. I had to add mentors and coaches. At the time, I wasn't around any other entrepreneurs. I didn't know any other entrepreneurs. So yeah, I'm always on the hunt to find other positive people. I think that's kind of why I created the Love Your Work and Life Ladies Facebook group, because to me it's so important to be around other women who are, you know, wanting to make a difference and wanting to make a difference in their lives and in their careers and do big things, and just not happy with the status quo. You know, we just really want to keep going out there. So I think it's just something that I'm always on the hunt to find more and support and positive people in my life too. So, but nothing has, I wouldn't say anything has like completely changed. So, do you have anything to say about that? No.
Not changed, just added.
Added.
You've
I
gotten
agree.
more. Yeah.
I agree.
I don't think gotten rid of people.
No.
But like added, yeah, definitely more
Added.
like entrepreneurial minded and
Yeah.
like mastermind group
Yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Anything else, John, or should we sign off for the day? We have 2 minutes left. We good? Okay. Awesome. Well, this was fun. I think it worked out. I hope the replay works too, so the people that were not with us live get a chance to watch the replay too. But like I said, come visit us at classycareergirl.com. Get involved on the Facebook group in our Love Your Work and Life Ladies. We love you guys. Download the blog checklist at classycareergirl.com/blog checklist. I think we said that enough. I think that's it. So I'll see you guys next time. We'll let you know when we do this again. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye, guys.